Greetings. Nikola is correct, and I'm really surprised by that. It turns out that Tesla is actually financing Model 3 and other parts of its operations with cash coming in from the semi-truck. Very surprised by this. The second thing we're covering today is sort of where we are in the process of the Model 3, I want to say re-ramp. Before I start, I wanted to do my usual thing that maybe some of you hate, which is to show you guys where we're at. Notice the great flowers that are showing up during the spring season right now. Good morning, Jerry. I just wanted to give you guys a quickie view. This is one of my favorite places to shoot. We're in a place called Alexandria, Virginia. I apologize for the lateness, but we didn't have enough sunlight to really make this whole shot work a half hour ago, so we're sort of floating a little bit on time. I also wanted to note that we're right next to the Potomac River, so the setting is really awesome at the end. I think I'm going to walk down so you guys can get a better view. And okay, thank you for that comment regarding the sun glaring there. It's one of the rules of thumb that you do not let the sun hit like that, but I wanted you to have the view while I shot rather than the other way around. So I apologize. You'll get a little bit of the view over my I guess in this direction, but you get to see the ducks and all the other things happening here. This is Greg for Tesla Fan Insight. Yes, I'm in Old Town Alexandria, and it's absolutely a beautiful area, and thank you for noticing. This is Greg for Tesla Fan Insight. Thanks once again for joining us. If this is your first time on our channel, please take time to like and subscribe. If you're a repeat visitor, welcome back. I also wanted to note that we started including our Patreon as an auto and would really appreciate your help. Our goal right now is to get to 100 Patreon folks within the next month, because right now you're seeing me from a Samsung S7, and what we'd really like to do is be able to get one of the EOS line of cameras, and this will enable us to do a way better job than we're currently doing. So could use your help, even if it's temporary on Patreon. $1 or $2 over the rest of us would be totally awesome. So the order of the show today focuses on the fact that I also have the challenge, even though our spot is beautiful, we're having a challenge here over my shoulder, and the challenge is that we're on the flight path for DCA or Ronald Reagan Airport. So you might notice that I'll stop kind of talking as we have planes landing, and I apologize for the noise, but I wanted to pick up a little different environment than we usually do. So there's a bombshell that hit. I was on the way to preparing my show. I sent notes to my Patreon subs regarding what we plan to do. By the way, Jerry, please note, you need to, I don't think you're registered as part of our Tesla Advisor group. I want to make sure you are. So please just hit the link that you'll see on the bottom of this, and we're making sure it's on all of ours. Now, today's talk kind of surprised me because I was on my way to do one talk, and then we haven't been able to really do anything. I like to do at least one truck piece a week, maybe every 2 weeks. I also like to avoid making comments that don't add value in terms of something new. And so I was doing research last night to figure out what we were going to talk about and if there was anything new on the truck to be observed. And an utterly mind-blowing thing happened. And what I want you to do is type in Tesla Semi, and you'll be brought, Tesla has set up a separate site for the semi-truck. And it's pretty mind-blowing, the information that's on there relative to the success of the company. The mind-blowing news from Tesla is the fact that Tesla, I got the numbers all wrong when it came to how Tesla was dealing with cash and the semi-truck. Now, as all of you know, in the case of the Model 3, Tesla has a thing going where they announce that there are 400,000 people at $1,000 a head, and that works out to, I think, $400 million. My mathematicians out there will definitely correct me So I think that's what the number is. So that's a nice piece of cash to help work out some of Model 3 kinks. The next thing that by the way, behind me you notice there's a purebred dog, and I really like dogs, and it's cool to see those animals in the area that I'm in currently. So you probably noticed some of that going on with dog walkers in the area that I am in Old Town Alexandria. Now, I was kind of shocked because in the case of the trucks, you'll notice that Tesla is not divulging how many people have ordered. The only hint at how many trucks have been ordered is that Elon Musk, back when they first announced the truck last April, said, we've got unlimited orders for the truck right now. And so other than that, it's been complete silence from the company, and all of the announcements of the number of trucks ordered have come from those who've purchased deciding to do so. Now, the reason I think this is a mind-blowing bombshell is that initially I thought that there was a $20,000 deposit when it came to the truck, and then we learned, and then it was first there was a $5,000 deposit, then there's a $20,000 deposit, and the number was sort of shipping around, and I was trying to figure out, well, what's the real number and what are we doing? And what I came to find out is, after looking at the site, what it actually says is that in order to get the founder series of the truck, it's $20,000 to reserve. You then have 10 days to come up with the remainder of the payment for the truck 1 year before it's delivered. So I was like, whoa, that is amazing. So why this is amazing is basically you've got the people who are on the Founders series of buying the truck paying $200,000 a piece for their trucks 1 year before delivery. And I was like, oh my gosh. Now there's a second tier. If you want the regular pricing of $150,000 for the 300-mile truck or $175,000 for the 500-mile truck, you can simply put $5K down, and then it's $5K initially and then $15K after 10 days, and that puts you in the line for the non-founder series of the truck. Now, there's a mystery happening with the truck that we're going to be finding out in the near term, or whatever the term might be. That's kind of fascinating, and this sort of answers the question. So unfortunately, I have the plane going by, and I'll slow my comment here to let it go, and then I'll continue. So the mystery that, yeah, that is interesting how the Roadster and the truck are the same price, John. So what I was really surprised by about this is I've been playing in my head with, well, how many people are doing the Founders Series and how much money is that? And is Nikola right about that? So let's play with some numbers. I'm confident that there's 1,000 orders right now for the truck. So basically 1,000 times 200,000 is only $200 million. Now, what's interesting is that that's sort of baseline what I think the numbers are. Now, let's say Elon is right and there's unlimited order flow for that truck. So for giggles, let's say we have between 5,000 and 10,000 trucks on order, which isn't way out of line. I think 5,000 is definitely doable. You know, if we try to get up to 10 or 20,000, that's a little much given how much money is involved. So what this kind of brings up is an interesting point, which is between the money you're getting for the Founder Series and the money you're getting for the regular orders, in my thumbnail sketch, Tesla has picked up $1 billion in cash from the trucks. And we then start playing this game of, okay, let's pick a customer. Let's say Walmart. Walmart has thousands of trucks. I want to say 1,000 trucks that they're going to convert. So the way these companies are going to do it is they're going to get an initial order, and then as trucks come off of lease, they'll rotate into the new trucks in that process. So bottom line is that I thought there was going to be a huge bottleneck where you try to figure out who gets their truck first. And one of the easy ways is you've already paid for it. So that gets you your truck. And then the next tier is who gets the truck once you have all those orders in, who gets the truck one before the other. And I think another measure of that is who puts in the mega chargers. Now, a sidebar note on this whole truck thing that I think is a chuckle is that, just note folks, a supercharger costs $1.5 million to have installed. You need 6 vehicles in your fleet to get a free one from Tesla at your facility. So all these orders for 1 or 2 trucks that you're seeing are complete BS, because a mega charger will no doubt cost more. I think the number of trucks you need to have reserved and paid for, it's got to be higher than 6. So any of these orders that are announced where people are talking about 1 or 2 trucks, I think are complete BS. Now, and I think the real number is higher than that. So this sort of brings up the question of, let's say we took a little bit of a risk because Tesla's not giving us the numbers and said that, hey, Tesla has 2,000 to 5,000 Founder Series and 2,000 to 5,000 regular truck orders on. So this means that Tesla is sitting on between $1 and $3 billion in cash right now. So that is pretty mind-blowing. And the reason it's mind-blowing is that the folks over at the Wall Streeters and the folks that are shorting the stock are under the assumption that Tesla is going to run out of cash. And the only sort of fly in this analysis that I see is the fact that if you're taking those deposits based on building a truck and you're not giving out exact dates, you know, there's a problem that might pop up there. But if you think about it, Tesla could shut down some production on the Model S and produce the shell of the cab inside of their paint shops already pre-existing. And as you know, most of the parts are the same anyway, the only piece being the drivetrain being different. So those could be built, you know, at an outside vendor or, you know, in a Tesla facility pre-existing anyway. So all of this suggests that the truck has a real high likelihood of showing up on time because of the shared parts with the Model 3, number one. Number two, just like was predicted by the folks at Nikola, Tesla is using, I thought Tesla was just using a 20,000 deposit times the number of trucks to finance operations. In reality, they're getting full payment within 10 days. So that's mind-blowing. So basically what's happening, and by the way, I'm very surprised at the decision made by big companies to go ahead and instead of leasing a truck, they're actually buying the Tesla semis. And so as we've seen the semi in motion, I think there are some very big companies and very rich people saying, hey, wait a second, how are we going to pay for a truck? We actually haven't driven it to make sure this thing exists. So the on-the-road visiting Pepsi as well as Anheuser-Busch, I think was an effort to make it clear that not only do you need to put up your 200 grand a truck right now for the 100, 200, 300 orders you've made, but if you're going to move your whole fleet over, you guys need to get on the boat hard and strong early. Otherwise, there are other large companies with large fleets that want to transition over that'll get ahead of you. The accounting for me here makes sort of, I got a question on accounting and we may cover this later as I have had a chance to review it. But in the case of Daimler-Benz, their electric trucks now are all leases. The only one revealed on price is the lower line fuso for $1,000 a month. But this leaves open an open question as to how are these companies paying $200K per truck and it becomes a capital expense versus leasing it, and it doesn't have to be a capital expense, and therefore how it hits the balance sheet is completely different. So I think it shows the value proposition of the truck being extremely high, and therefore, you know, we have potential for more success here relative to the truck. So bottom line of what I got into here is just the idea that there's a huge amount of cash, and we don't know how much it is, that's been taken in by Tesla when it comes to the trucks at both tiers. The shocker of the day is that Tesla is getting the full price of the truck on the Founder Series, and the Founder Series process of full price right away answers the question of how do you prioritize who gets their trucks first in the production line. My forecast is somewhere about 1,000 trucks a month being produced by Tesla once the factory is fully built out. And frankly, they have the capability to build more, particularly if they have the cash. What I'm also intrigued by that plays in the sort of background of this is that if you're a Founder Series purchaser, do you then say to Tesla, look, we're buying our 100 trucks right now, our trucks are going to come off on this cycle, this is what our buying pattern is going to be once we get our first 100. And if you have that set up, and let's say you're Walmart, Tesla could walk into, in essence, a bank or a large brokerage firm and say, look, we've got X number of orders, we've got soft orders for X number more trucks, and now, lines of credit and all kinds of access to capital that's easy to get because it's backed up by orders by mega entities, like InBev through Anheuser-Busch, PepsiCo, as well as, you're in essence riding their balance sheet and the fact that they can and will pay when they say they're going to beyond the initial cash they've put out. So there's some really creative, fascinating things happening with financing on this side. And I'm excited because Elon Musk claimed that he doesn't need to raise cash. And I think all this cash moving around sort of gives us the answer to how exactly is he going to pull this off? And I think we kind of have an answer to that question going off. And I'm excited about it and think it's a bombshell. So if you're a serious Tesla watcher, please take time to type in Tesla Semi and click through and look at the process of which Tesla is bringing cashing on the trucks. Because that sucker is so good that people are willing to pay in advance the whole retail price to get one. Now, I would say that might be an issue too, the retail price. Number of trucks probably gets some discounts the higher the count of what you're buying. So the next thing I wanted to focus on, the next thing I want to cover is Nikola was right. They're giving back deposits right now and claiming they don't need the money, and Tesla is using the truck to finance the whole company. And I have to admit, in this case, Nikola was right, hence why I put that thumbnail on, or label on my thumbnail. The next thing I wanted to cover is the fact that everybody's on pins and needles right now relative to whether the Model 3 plant is going to be back up and producing at 6,000 a week starting on Monday. I'm hopeful that that's the case, and I think that this could be explosive for the stock. If the plant comes back up and starts producing on the speed that he's described, I think it could be a huge forward progress on this whole issue. The other thing is that I'm not fielding everything you guys are saying while I'm in process here, but I will at the end, so please feel free to fire questions. I'd be happy to share my opinion and thoughts on it. The next thing I wanted to cover is the fact that Elon Musk pointed out that he was trying to move production up from 3,000 a week into the 6,000 range by going to 24/7 production. So the other thing I wanted to cover is that my last show we covered keeping an eye out for how well Tesla employees are treated. I got a comment from one of my regular commenters, and he said to me that, how did I find out about issues on the plant floor and damage to employees that's not being announced? Well, if you type in Tesla employee breaks jaw, there's an article that came out, and I'll try to get the link for it on here, and it talks about the fact that they actually had an employee within the last couple of weeks who broke his jaw on the factory floor. Evidently, a piece of equipment ran into him. And it then delineated the fact that Tesla actually has a temp agency from which they hire people on an hourly basis to go on the factory floor. And this actually kind of brings up some interesting questions about how are you going to bring in people sort of out of a temp agency that are not well trained if you're trying to get production done. And I really feel like Elon has this plan going where he loves technology and computers and robots, and he put a lot of cash into that, and he expects that those robots will sort of give him a competitive advantage. And human beings are kind of underrated. So I was impressed to hear him come back and say he underestimated the value of human beings, and that part of the redo of the factory was walking backwards some of the production process they were doing. I just think that it's unfortunate that low-level line workers aren't getting their due in terms of recognizing the value of both hiring, training, and taking care of employees at the bottom end really makes a big difference because you're relying on their extra effort to get more cars out. I guess the last item I wanted to focus on today, and I think I'm going to try to post this. I don't know if I have room at the bottom, but it may have to. I have to figure out. We put it on our test. I actually do have an answer. The answer is, I think I'll put this on our Facebook page at Tesla Fan Insight. And what it is there's a piece that was written by the manager of the Kentucky plant of Toyota, and he talked about the fact that Toyota has a thing where if you look along the line, any employee is allowed to grab and hold a cable if they recognize a quality issue, because Toyota has this very heavy focus on quality that's established a great relationship between them and their customers in terms of how well these vehicles are produced. So what was interesting about the piece was basically they pointed out that at Ford and other manufacturers, the number of vehicles produced is all that the plant managers want to know. And if you're below 100% production for your shift, you have to go up through chains of command to explain why it is you didn't complete that production. In the case of Toyota, the manager was arguing that the Toyota discipline suggests that if there's an employee that recognizes a problem, they are asked to pull the cord, stop production in the entire factory, and let's get on that quality issue to make sure it isn't spread through numbers of vehicles and affects end users negatively. So instead of worrying about whether or not throughput met the 100% goal that day, the senior manager of Toyota's focus is, did we get vehicles through, and did we get the quality through? And if we're not getting the quality that we want, how can we support getting the quality of product that we want to have show up? So I just wanted to note this is a pretty impressive, different philosophy that's being demonstrated by Toyota, and I hope Tesla tries to move into this realm of quality focus, but I don't know if they can pull it off given their process of how they manage production, etc. So the final thing I wanted to, this is kind of a left field. I happened to run into a ear, nose, and throat doctor, and there's a disease called NPV. And so as you know, I'll roam off into other topics sometime, but evidently Catherine Zeta-Jones gave Mike Douglas cancer, or throat cancer, based on he and she not being inoculated for it. And I just randomly wanted to mention it to you guys because I'm not going to dive. It's the HPV virus, and women need to be inoculated, and that way they don't give that cancer disease to their partners. I wanted to mention it to you guys because I was stunned to learn that it's a growing problem in that field, and you guys may want to read about it, and I'm not going to get into it because it'll result in me being banished from YouTube on this show. So I'll let you guys read about it, and if you want to comment below, I'll be willing to work with you on that. So finally, I wanted to note that what we're doing in terms of our ads is that we're putting one in about every 5 minutes of our show. We can make it 7 or 8 minutes, so the numbers would be lower. We're open to your input on what to do. We'd really appreciate it if you take time to watch at least 15 seconds of the commercials, because if you immediately click away from them, we're getting no support at all from that. So a few minutes of each ad would be greatly appreciated in your watch time. More importantly, we'd like to upgrade and switch over to the $500 Canon EOS for our shoots, and to achieve that, we're asking for you to either increase your Patreon support if you can by $1 or $2, and then lower it once we have the new camera, or we're asking if you join us on Patreon. Right now we're at, I believe, 38 supporters, and our goal is to push towards 100 this month. That way we can get some new equipment in and do a better job all around. I have to admit, this setting is one of my favorite anywhere, and so I'm going to finish up right now and sort of walk around. Trucks, from my knowledge, are going to be built in a place called Livermore, California. If you check, Tesla leased 1 million square feet in a facility there about 8 months ago. So that's location. Your question on prototypes is a good one, and more of them is true. By the way, hi Jerry, hi Tobin, hi Pork and Fork, and greetings to all of my other fans, John, etc., that I didn't get a chance to say to at the beginning. So we're in Alexandria, Virginia. It's absolutely beautiful. I think Tesla kicks me off at 30 minutes and I'm at 24. And what I'm going to do is probably walk us down to the water so we can pick up some more of the awesome view here next to the Potomac in Alexandria, Virginia, in an area called Old Town. I have to admit, I really also like, if you look behind me here, you'll notice we have some really beautiful flowers that are going on this time. So this is Greg for Tesla Fan Insight. Please like and subscribe. If you're a regular subscriber, even if it's temporary, we'd appreciate your joining us on Patreon. The link will be below. We'd love to upgrade equipment so we can do a better job all around for you guys, and also, provide great information by being able to put in more time with the help of researchers in Silicon Valley to do more. So again, the explosive news is you got to pay 200 grand a year before your truck arrives in order to get your semi. But I believe that there are thousands of these that have been ordered, which gives Tesla the cash they need to not have to worry about getting blown out by shortage of cash and then destroying their stock. And I look forward to doing the next show. As we get into our Tuesday show, hopefully we'll have news on what's going on with the production in the Valley and if the retrofit of the factory that they did actually worked out. Look forward to any and all questions. Happy to respond. We'll be back again next week. We'll try the 7 a.m. slot again and see what the commentary from you guys is on day and time that we're doing this show. So as I shared, I'm going to walk you down here. We're in Old Town Alexandria, at I think one of the most beautiful places in the greater Washington, D.C. area. This is kind of a hangout for all kinds of both people and birds, etc. As you can see, yeah, happy Earth Day to you, Bob. Hey, Jerry, thank you very much. And I just wanted to use up my time here because many folks will bail early, but I just think this is just totally awesome in terms of the view on the Potomac River. And if you look behind me here, you'll notice that that's the new MGM Grand Casino. It's kind of off in the distance. And here, again, we're on the Potomac River. A really great jogging spot. There's a lot of construction going on in the area. Water's kind of calm right now without a lot of boaters. Usually we have the duck population pretty heavy here, but looks like they've decided to sleep in this morning. And then my final sort of closeout will be, you can see the Wilson Bridge in the distance behind me. So pretty awesome.